How's it going, everybody? We're live, I think. I think we should be live here on Zoom and live on Facebook. Um, this is our first time doing this, so hopefully it actually works. But we're super excited to try it here. And if you can hear water running in the background, timing is poor, and we're actually running a cleaning cycle on our watering system. So that should hopefully be over in the next minute or so. But anyway, super excited if you're here and you're watching this. This is going to get put up on our site as well, activelychaotic.com, under the blog section. So there will be all sorts of opportunity for people to check out this after this in case they miss the live event here. But my name is Trevor. This is my beautiful wife, Crystal. For those that don't know us, we are Actively Chaotic.
Very much so.
So we're absolutely stoked to do this. So if you guys haven't heard this week, what we're doing is we're doing 2 live events. And the first one is this values training, and the second is actually a full complete dive into what we do as affiliate marketers, how we do it, what systems we use to allow us to be the best that we could be at affiliate marketing, and how I've stepped away from a full-time management role back into the 9-to-5 world. I'm home way more with my kids, and they're still racing motocross, they're still playing hockey, and I've supplemented that lost income by working with companies, with Crystal by my side, by working with companies and connecting their products to people who want to purchase them. And basically we get paid a direct commission. So it's super, super straightforward, and it's an absolutely growing industry. And that's Thursday, 6:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. It'll be live, and we will go through absolutely everything, explaining what we do. But that's not today. Today is values training. And I think Crystal would worry about that. It's all good. What we can talk about, I mean, maybe what you could talk about too, is one of the best parts about us running our company has been the ability for us to work together.
Yeah, I never actually thought that we'd ever get to a point where we'd be able to spend our day-to-day with each other and our children. We basically, for the last 10 years, played tag team parenting. When Trevor and I met, we both had a child from a previous marriage, so we didn't get that, time together that a lot of people get before kids. And then we had 2 fantastic little boys right after. So it's always been chaotic. Full-time work for both of us, and then running back and forth from activities, errands, all of that everybody is so familiar with. And yeah, so this summer we had the time off together. Trevor was on disability from his injury, and I was just on vacation. And Trevor joked one night and said to me that we needed to make the most of our vacation because we had 2.5 weeks off together, and he didn't think that we'd be able to actually pull that again until we were retired. And all joking aside, I'm not okay with that. And so we basically decided from that moment on that we needed to make a change so that not only we could spend more time as a family, but we could actually spend time together and enjoy the life that we had, slow down and make the most of it.
It's been great, and that's kind of what's led us to here. But one of the big reasons why we're able to do what we do is because, I think our working relationship, the same with our home relationship, is strong, right? And I think there's a lot of things that you'll find, and you can go to a lot of self promotion, self help seminars, that sort of thing. That always has you look within yourself. But one of the biggest things that we do on a day-to-day basis is we connect with people, and what brings fulfillment in our lives are the quality of those relationships and those connections. So what we wanted to do was give you a values training. It's going to be pretty short. But we want to talk about, those relationships and the 7 key factors in building trust. So what we're going to do, and I really hope all of this is sharing the way that it is. If not, this will be really good practice. So we're just going to run through the PowerPoint here. And Crystal may duck out, she may stay. It all sort of depends on what our children do because we were filming this the actively chaotic way. So, but what in our lives brings us fulfillment? So spending time with our family, of course, connecting with friends, achieving goals, enjoying hobbies, helping others. All of those things, when you think about them, they all absolutely, like those are key parts of every day, right? Any one of those things happen in your day and you're like, that's a good day. That's what I feel like I had a really good day, and you have that kind of sense of purpose. But there's a common denominator there, that there's a common thing in place where if that thing wasn't in place, none of those things would be possible. You're not going to have those successes. You're not going to have that time with your family. You're not going to have that quality time with your family. You're not going to have that relationship with your spouse. It all comes down to your ability to build key and long-lasting relationships. It's not only about, me and Crystal being married for the next, 40, 50 years. It's about your business. It's about your clients. It's about your kids. It's about your parents. All of that will only be as good as your ability to commit to those relationships, to grow those relationships, to not have them be stagnant, not have them be status quo, but to constantly want them to grow and constantly want them to be better. So while we're talking about not even ourselves here today, we're more talking about our ability to interact with others. What you'll find is it's all connected. And it's all directly related to how successful you are in life. And we don't necessarily need to put a marker on success as how much money you make or what your title is or what car you drive. But maybe the marker on success, for us is at the end of the day, what was your day full of? Was it fulfilled? Are you fulfilled? Are you happy? Are you truly, did you give today your absolute best and did you get it in return? And when you do, and when you follow some of these steps that we're going to go over, you truly have that. You have that feeling when you go to bed in the morning, and that means you have that drive when you wake up to do it all again. So what are the most important relationships in your life? And I think we could talk about a few. The relationship with your family. Of course, right? The relationship with that might be your parents, your siblings, whoever, right? That's important. When those relationships are fractured, you feel those. So you're constantly wanting to grow those relationships, even sometimes if they drive you crazy. Same thing with spouses. I think you can attest to that. I drive her nuts from time to time, once or twice. But you constantly, that's important. That's important. If you don't have that, you lose the drive to do a lot of things in your day-to-day. Relationship with your friends, right? This is one where we all get so busy in our day-to-day that, maybe we start losing sight of this until we actually reconnect and you remember just, man, that's, if one for me, if there's one out of all of these that, I struggle, and I know I'm the one kind of leading the class, but that's a big one. Right? There's people in my life that mean the absolute world to me that I really don't see anywhere near as much as I should, and I struggle with that. Now we're getting into your business, relationship with your coworkers, relationship with your clients. All of these relationships are extremely important every day. But there's one key factor in building relationships. There's all sorts of, we could dive into how it all works and really focus on all sorts of things. But Chris, I think you'll agree there's one key thing that's needed in building a relationship. What's that?
Definitely, I would have to say that the key factor in any of the relationships that I want to build is definitely trust.
One thing, trust. 100%. It's the hardest thing to earn, and it can be the fastest thing to lose. And I don't care if you're talking about your spouse. I don't care if you're talking about your family. I don't care if you're talking about your company, your business, your employer, your employees. If you don't have a systematical approach to building trust in your relationships, not just building it to a point, but continually delivering on it, continually looking to grow and expand upon that trust, relationships will become stagnant. And when they become stagnant, people start wondering what's the value of them, and they start to deteriorate. And that's where, that can, if we're talking about business, if you're involved in any type of commission sales, this is where it can directly affect your bottom line. But in your personal life, it can affect your relationship with your spouse, with your family, with whoever, right? If you don't have that systematic approach to building trust. So this is what we're going to give you, okay? And I want you to understand that, like I said, I was in management for years, and I didn't write this stuff. I didn't make this stuff up. Someone paid me a lot of money to go to a high performance leadership class and learn a lot of this stuff. And I think I actually took this 6 or 7 years ago, but it stayed with me. And it stayed with me because it's not something that I was like, I'm going to apply this to my managerial style. I was like, I'm going to apply this to my life. And it wasn't only until I got hurt, until I was, learning to walk for the third time in my life and clawing my way back, that I actually realized what these 7 key factors actually were. And I'm now applying them on paper for the first time, and you guys are kind of walking through it with me. So let's start with number 1. So they say listening with positive intent. Okay, now what this means, Crystal laughs because when I took this training 7 years ago, I came home and I did the total dick thing of being like, our first argument was, I did not intend that. You're not listening with positive intent. That is your limited perception. So I caution all of you, use this information in the right way. Do not use it to try to win an argument, because it didn't go over well. But I did a whole video on perception not too long ago.
Boys, dog.
This is a big one, avoiding limited perception. So what is a limited perception? Well, a limited perception is if someone comes to you with an idea, or someone comes to you with something, and you already have an opinion based upon how this conversation is going to go. You've already played this out in your mind. Okay, so what happens then when you do that is you basically closed yourself off a little bit, and you're not even fully hearing what they're going to say. And we'll get into active listening in a moment. But another thing is, when you're establishing that trust, when you're trying to build that relationship, you can't have an agenda. Your agenda needs to be, you want to listen to this person right now. You want to listen to whatever their problem is, whatever their connection is, whatever the reason is for speaking right now. That is all you're doing. One of the biggest hang-ups in communication is that we're constantly thinking of what we want to say next while someone's speaking. And when that happens, we stop hearing what they want to say, even if we're not doing it maliciously. There's no ill intent there. It's just we stop hearing. And that's not good either. Be present. So the 2 things that I just said will 100%, you will not be present in that conversation. And if you're not present, then you're not actively listening. Okay? So if you're avoiding those top 3 things, you're actively listening to that conversation. You're actively listening to that person, and you're getting that opportunity to really hear what they have to say, and then provide a solution, or provide something impactful to help build that trust.
I agree, and honestly, that's probably one of the main things that, for myself, starting a new business and talking to strangers, I really struggled with listening to exactly what they had to say, because I thought that I had already had their answer. And that's not necessarily the key. So instead of, and it's hard, because you want to be prepared to have your answer, and you want to have your answer, meticulous and educated sounding. But if you're constantly thinking about what you're going to say next, you're not actually listening to that person. And it's going to really cause a disservice especially when you're trying to gain the trust in that initial conversation. Because first impressions are way bigger than we think they are.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So number 2, commit to the partnership. Okay, so you've now listened to what they have to say. You've actively listened. In this moment, before you say what's next, you need to evaluate. This sounds harsh and direct, but for yourself, you need to establish value of that potential partnership. And if it's an existing one, you need to reestablish what it means to you. Right? If it's a new one, you need to reestablish what you need to establish what they just said. What was your connection to it now? How did that make you feel? What can you see? Right? You can't predict the future, but people have a connection. And this is asking you to slow down and establish the value of that connection. Evaluate it. Be grateful for it, and then commit to its future. Before you even take that next step, already commit. Take action. Commit to that future of that relationship.
Even if it's just telling them that you're going to check in with them tomorrow at such and such time, you need to make sure that you do that. And that's
coming up too, right? So stand for its success. So you've actively listened. You've established the value now of this relationship. You've established its importance to you. Okay? Once committed, stand for the success of that relationship. Internalize it. Think within inside yourself. What does it mean to you? And no matter what, at this moment, always you're just reinvesting in yourself. You're retelling yourself. You're restating to yourself. No matter what, I will make sure that this relationship continues to grow. It continues to improve over time. And I know there's more steps that I have to take to do that. But I am committed. I am committed, and I stand for the success of this relationship, of this connection. Every interaction, every thought, every move made is to further grow the success of that relationship. So in the beginning, I talked about when you build trust to a point, and then you stop having that systematic approach, continually delivering upon that trust, and continually, trying to grow that relationship, it becomes stagnant. So now here you are. There's 7 steps. You're only on step number 3. And we're asking you to not only stand for the success, to internalize it, to think about what it means to you, but to understand every single thing that you do. The point of it, the goal of it, is to grow the success of that relationship, whether that's your spouse, whether that's a client, a customer, a friend, it doesn't matter. Every interaction you have, that is your goal. That is your objective. Number 4, and Crystal will know this is my favorite. Be real, talk straight, okay, but respectfully, and that's important. When you have established trust with someone, when you've listened to them, when you're committed to them, while there's two-way dialogue going on, while you're, and you've already started that connection where they lean on you and you lean on them, when they're trusting you for guidance and you give it to them, or vice versa. Over time, don't shy away from the tough conversations. That continuous improvement, that continuous growth of a relationship, of a friendship, or whatever, it comes from being open to delivering and receiving constructive criticism. And I can simply know, and I'm so excited to put this into a PowerPoint, and there is a place in the world for calling people on their shit. There is. And it needs to be done more often. And you know what? Someone's going to call you on yours. And if it's done respectfully, it'll be impactful. And you'll appreciate it. And you'll thank them. Maybe not in that moment. Maybe in that moment, you'll tell them to piss off. But that's real, right? Actively chaotic. Real family, real talk, real success. This is it. Is if you want to grow real long-lasting relationships, there is a point in every one of those where I can put up my hand and say, I screwed up. Or I went to, somebody and said, that's not right. Okay, like that's not what we should be doing, and here's the reasons why. And you've got to be able to stand up. You've got to be able to have those tough conversations, but you have to be able to do it respectfully. Number 5, honor your commitments. So like Crystal was saying earlier, follow through, follow up, do what you say. Commitment is your word. That is your bond. You have to follow through on your commitments. You have to. There's just, you could do everything else right all the way up to this point, but if you don't follow through, it's worth nothing, and it goes right off the rails. Continually delivering on your commitments is the foundation. It's the absolute foundation of trust. You can say all you want. You can say all the right things in the world. You can do nice things. You can buy flowers. You can do whatever. But if you don't do what you say, unless it's like picking up laundry in the morning, I can continually not do that. Right? But everything else, you pretty much got to do.
Well, and it's hard too, because then I know in some relationships you want to be able to say all of the right things, but you have to think really quick in your head, and you're like, can I actually follow through with this? Or am I just saying this because this is what they want to hear, and I want them to hear it because I don't want to let them down? But you twist it around and you realize that the next day you will let them down even bigger, because then you've completely abolished all of the trust that they have in you, because you're not delivering on any of the commitments.
Yeah, exactly. It's like forcing your way through that real talk stage only to lose in the honoring your commitment stage, because you were afraid to have the tough conversation, so you made a commitment that you couldn't make, and you lost that trust. So it's tough. And that's the next one. Recover quickly.
Trevor's good at that.
I am good at that. Yeah. Number 6, lucky number 6 for Trevor here. I do a lot of time recovering quickly. I don't spend a lot of nights on the couch, so my ability to recover quickly is not bad. But life, I'll just read it. Life isn't roses and rainbows. Like, stuff happens. Sometimes we let each other down. Sometimes we let the relationship down. Sometimes we let the trust down. Right? Sometimes we don't actively listen, we don't talk straight, we don't honor our commitments. But here's the thing. Your next move, the next thing that you do, and the time it takes you to make it will determine the future direction of that relationship. You're going to screw up. I'm going to screw up.
Everyone's human.
I'm going to hurt somebody, somebody's going to hurt me. It's the way the world works. You're going to upset somebody. You can't avoid conflict unless you're going to go hide in a little bubble and avoid the world. However, if you've established what this relationship means to you, if you've established its value, if you've had the straight talk, the real talk, if you've done your best to honor the commitments, okay, but something's happened, something's gone wrong, something's gone sideways, but you know what, you feel that. So you recover quickly, all right, and you make it right. Find a way to make it right. Then the last one, clean it up. We always clean it up. And I'm not talking about makeup, that's not what I mean. That's not what this is about. But we recover quickly, we put a plan in place to get things back on track, and now we follow up. So how do we clean it up? It's simple.
It's not putting toilet paper over the dog pee and hoping your wife finds it later.
No, kids. That wasn't even me.
It
wasn't even me. But seriously, we start the whole process all over again. And we never stop. Okay, 1 to 6. Go back and think about it. Think about your best friend in the world right now. And think about 1 to 6. I guarantee you subconsciously that's all that stuff's taking place. But now go back and do it again. Right? and just over time, just keep doing it and keep doing it and keep doing it and keep doing it. And that's how you keep adding value to those relationships. And that's how you keep growing those relationships. And that's how you keep, that's how you keep them from becoming stagnant. Okay, if you screw up and you recover quickly, you give them an apology, but then you just leave it, they don't see that fulfillment of your commitments over and over and over and over again. So the trust doesn't carry on. Even though you apologize, the trust becomes stagnant anyway. So that's what it means when we say clean it up. Start it all over again.
The empty promise, the empty apologies are worse than anything, really. And it matches with any relationship that you have, whether it's with a coworker or an employee or your spouse. If they say that they're sorry and you've had a good enough relationship that you're like, yeah, okay, people make mistakes, stuff happens, I totally forgive you, and then they do nothing. There's none of the other steps involved to help clean it up and to actually reestablish that broken trust. It's even worse than just having broken trust of that relationship, because if it happens again, it's over.
And here's the thing: is when you operate on the 1 to 7 steps, and that is an integral part of how you are. And this isn't in the slides, but this is something that's really important for me. I can't believe I'll have to know. But you will be operating in all aspects of your life at a high level of integrity, because that's really what it comes down to. And this is how I view it. In life, your name is, and how you carry yourself and how you treat others, and is everything. It's absolutely everything. You could have millions and millions and millions of dollars, but if you had to screw over one person, in my mind, to get there, you're poor. Like, it's integrity, and it is the most important thing. That it's just the most important thing to me. If we're looking about attributes and things like that. But here's the thing. Everything that we just talked about, the key. We just talked about all these relationships with your spouse, with your coworkers, all of that. But what is the most important relationship that we have? Who do we have more conversations with in a day than anyone? She hasn't seen the slides.
I talk to myself a lot.
But it's true. It's true. It's the relationship that we have with ourselves. That is the primary relationship. If the relationship with ourselves is crap, we won't have the presence of mind, we won't have the confidence, we won't have the ability to do the steps that I just showed you. We won't be able to do that with others if we can't do it with ourselves. Now let's take a look at those same 7 steps again, but let's do it from a different perspective. Let's do it from within. Let's do it from within ourselves, okay? So here we go. 7 key factors in building trust in ourselves. We must listen with positive intent. How many times do we have a thought? Do we have something come into our head that we go, hey, what if I did this? What if? Almost all of them always start with what if. But when we're talking about inside, when we're talking about ourselves, we are the worst for limited perceptions, because we have, however old we are, we have all these years of experiences that have kind of narrowed our lens on what we think we can do and what we think is possible. So we're going to go, well, you can't do that. Well, obviously, no. I mean, that person, they can do that kind of stuff, but you can never do that. And we shut it down. We shut that relationship with ourselves down immediately before it even begins. And do we stay committed to ourselves? Do we stay committed to every day, being our absolute best? Just finding a way. Yesterday, whatever happened yesterday is irrelevant. Yesterday doesn't happen. Yesterday doesn't matter. Tomorrow hasn't happened yet. But today, there's nothing in this world stopping you. I don't care who you are. I don't care what you're from. I don't care what your story is. There's nothing stopping you today from being your absolute best if you're committed to that vision, to that goal, to that drive, there's nothing stopping you. So commit to yourself. Be committed to yourself. Stand for your success. Don't let anything come between you and what you want to achieve. Maybe that's a better relationship with your wife. Maybe that's a better relationship with your kids. Maybe that's a better relationship with your boss. Maybe that's starting your own company. Maybe that's starting a completely different company that's way outside your comfort zone. But don't let anything stand in the way of your success. Defend that. Because it's yours. It's you. The only person that can stop you from doing something is you. So don't stand. Don't let it happen. Stand for your success. Practice straight talk. Call your own shit. Seriously, I don't, and I'm sorry if, like bad language or whatever, and I don't use a lot of it, but it's true. How many times do we make excuses? Do we say we can't do this? I can't do this. I can't do this. No, I can't do that. Like even the gym, for me, like the gym, like yesterday, complete utter failure. I go all the way to the gym. I'm walking into the gym. My phone dies. I have no music.
Big ass excuse.
I turn around and I leave. I just leave. So what did I do when I got home? I called myself out on my own crap. And I'm like, no, like that's not helping you do the things that you want to do. Right? And there's a spelling mistake there. But, we were rushed. Honor the commitments or the commitments. I just did it. Right. Okay, thank you for calling me out on my own shit.
You're
I appreciate that. But honor the commitments you make to yourself. You know what? I've been, and for anyone that's seen kind of like the mini series of videos that I put out there, I'm going to get them up on our activelychaotic.com page. But we've been through a ton in the time that Crystal and I have been together. And in my life, I have overcome a ton. And I don't know how many people come up to me and say, I don't know, like, you're just so inspirational. You're this, you're that. I'm not tooting my own horn right now. I'm going to prove a point in a minute. That they're like, how you never quit. I have quit on myself millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of times. But here's the key. I find a way to recover quickly. I find a way to say, you know what? No. I am committed to pushing forward, to just keep moving forward, no matter what. No matter what I have to overcome, no matter what fears I have, no matter what how self-confident I am, it doesn't matter. I just need to keep moving forward. And I use straight talk to do it, right? You don't go to the gym because your phone dies, right? You leave, you feel defeated, you feel weak, you feel whatever. You come home, you go, you know what? That was weak, that was stupid, that was dumb, that doesn't align with your goals, it doesn't align with what you want to do. Pull your crap together and get back out there. And then clean it up and go back and start living this list again and again and again and again and practice it every day within yourself. Because that's the most important relationship if you have. If you can't zero in on these 7 key factors within yourself, you're never going to be able to use them to build those relationships, to expand upon those relationships with the people that you need to. If you're out there and you've already got your online business or you got your own brick and mortar business or you're an employer or whatever, you're never going to be able to connect with people the way that you need to connect with them to the best of your ability if you don't have the ability to do it within yourself. And that's pretty much.
That's it.
That's like.
We ran over a little bit. Sorry, everybody.
We value your time, and this is our first shot at values training, and I hope you guys like it. Like I said, I'll get it up on activelychaotic.com, and I'll share a link on our page here. But do not miss out. We have the live affiliate marketing masterclass training coming up on Thursday, like we talked about. Thursday at 6:30 p.m. It costs nothing to be there. Yeah, it's free, and we're actually giving away stuff. So
we're giving away good stuff. So we've got a copy of Crystal's favorite book right now.
and we've got a $25 gift card, I think, for Starbucks. So we're giving away stuff Thursday, February 21st. So just a quick note, we're going to cover what is affiliate marketing. This is what we do. This is how we're earning money outside of the 9 to 5 grind. We're going to talk about who it's for. We're definitely going to talk about who it isn't for. And we're going to talk about how we do it. And we're just going to be real about it. We value your guys' time. We hope you've had an amazing family day. We hope you get some value out of this. And we'll see you on Thursday.